Hey traders, this is Taylor with Top Pick Trading. I want to give you guys a bar by bar on Tuesday, December 20th. So let's get started. You come in at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is right here, and I'd start by drawing my overnight highs and lows. It looks like we have some kind of range structure, big down, big up. Looks like we had a downtrend here, maybe even a bigger downtrend. That's played out. Break new low. Had this uptrend here. And looks like there were some good setups, but it's just too early in the day. Really, the overnight, like a triple test here and maybe a second entry long here as well. You can see that we got a break a new high, so now we've got a little range here. So now this has a break a new high, and so all the uptrends have played out. So we want to see what happens at the EMA. You can see we have a strong push below the EMA here. And so let's see. Let's start bar by bar. So we got a break from this micro downtrend here, fairly strong, but it's got a new low, and then we reverse strongly right into the EMA, so no trade there and congested. Breaks above the EMA, got 3 bullish bars. So let's see what happens. Break from that, push strongly below the EMA. Yep. And we correct there, that's a micro downtrend as well. Pushes to a new low. Like a little range here. This is a second entry long right here, but a little congested, and being that I'm going for a little bit larger targets, I need to run back to the EMA, so this is no trade here, only 2 points back. So, and now this is at the market open. Just congested sideways, not much here. Attempted breakout, gets rejected. So still just playing this range. Get a really strong bar here, but this is unclear what's happening. Get a lower high here, but very congested. No follow through. Now we get a higher low, but this is like sort of like trading a breakout, so I wouldn't recommend this trade. It's like kind of like a breakout pullback, but too congested and coming off the highs of this, so I think it's risky. Looks like it may would have worked depending on your target. So now this has this little micro trend here. Has a break a new high. Drop strongly below. Let's see if this one a measured move. Right around a measured move. Pretty strong bearish bars here. See what happens at the EMA. Breaks above, then it gets rejected strongly. So now this has a break and new low. Pushes strongly below the lows of this range. It's congested, and maybe we can start looking for a bigger structure here. Doesn't really fit nicely, so I'm gonna just play it as a break and new low for now. Continues lower. This may start from the lower high. That looks okay. It's got a break. Second entry short, but too far away from the EMA to consider. It's the new low. Strong bullish bar here. Pushes fairly strong above the EMA. This looks like maybe a micro trend. Break from the micro trend. 3 bearish bars. Get a higher low here, but still no trade. It's just kind of swinging on both sides of the EMA. Start considering maybe a longer or larger trend. Let's see. Overshoots that. Maybe worth drawing from the higher low. Yeah, that fits really nice. So now wait for prices to return to the EMA unless we get some kind of mean reversion trade up here. So now this looks like it has a break and new high. Keeps pushing higher, so now we got 2 legs to a new high. This is just a top pick, so I wouldn't recommend this trade. It wouldn't have triggered anyway. Maybe some kind of spiking channel, but I wouldn't consider any kind of trade off of this because we're so far from the EMA and we're getting near the overnight highs here. First break from that, get the new high, and this is technically not a lower high, but it kind of looks like it. Still wouldn't recommend this. This is rather bullish here, and this is a little sideways. And you can see you would have got stopped out on that. So now we're at the overnight highs. Looks like all the uptrends have played out. We'll see a setup in that. This looks maybe a little micro trend working down. Extending that. Get a lower high here, like I mentioned, but it's too close to the EMA and a little sideways. Now we get technically a second entry long here, but this has got some strength to it, so wouldn't recommend that. And we broke below this little pivot here. Looks like it would have worked, but don't know that at the time. Pushes all the way up to the overnight highs. And maybe this is a little bit wider. Doesn't fit all that nicely. And you can see it would have had a break here, so I don't think this is valid. I think maybe the break a new high here. Come back to the EMA after coming off the overnight highs, and you can see now the EMA didn't quite hold, but prices are still making higher lows and higher highs overall. It's the first entry. Just straight sideways here, no trade. Draw a little range here. Breaks out of that, and we got to break a new high from this, so maybe you can start looking for a larger channel. Let's see if the other side holds. And we came up just a little bit short, and it just dumps back down to the EMA. This is really strong to the bear side, and it's keep in mind the first little breakout of this overall range. So I wouldn't consider a long if we get a good bar. Don't get a good bar anyway. EMA does hold and it pushes higher. So now we've got a break a new high from this trend. And it keeps pushing higher. And you maybe could draw like maybe some kind of spiking channel in here, but for now I'll just play the break a new high. And this is just congestion far from the EMA. So now this has a break a new high as well. See what the EMA does. Looks like a range. Pretty strong bearish bars, so no setup here anyway. Get a higher low second entry long here, but no trade, no setup. And see, that would have got you if you did enter. And now we're really just going sideways. A lot of sideways today. Big bar, but right out of that congestion, nothing there. Get a little micro trend working up. Break from that. Sells off. Pushes below the lows. I'd draw a micro trend here. So we may come back and test the overnight highs. Get a little break from that. Here's a more significant break. And no setup still, sideways. A lot of waiting today. And maybe this is a larger trend here. It's fairly decent. And a little bit. So now the overnight highs have given way. We're pushing strongly. So this looks like a break here. You could widen it more, but at that point you're widening a good bit. I would not widen it again. I'd consider this a break. And it broke on a strong bullish bar as well. So just a first entry short, drops to a new low. This has got some strength to it. breaking below all these pivot points here. Get a break a new low from this micro downtrend, and obviously this larger one has played out now, way away from the EMA, but this is really strong here, so I wouldn't take a long. First entry short, engulfing second entry short, but come on, look how far away you are. Congestion, this is a range. Sells below, pushes lower again. That's tempting to draw, but let's see what happens at the EMA. Got a micro uptrend working. You get a second entry short here, but I think everything has played out. It's just tempting to draw it this way, but the lows don't really fit that well. And this has got some strength to it, and we closed above the EMA, so I wouldn't take this short personally. And it looks like it wouldn't have triggered anyway. You get an inside bar. Let's run into this micro uptrend as well. So the micro uptrend breaks. Get a higher low here, but very sideways. Could really see if we want a measured move on this. A little bit more. Get a lower high here, but it's into this previous support area. And it would have got you by one tick and reversed. Expecting a new high on this blue uptrend too, which we just got on this bar. Sitting in this range, you get a first entry long, breaks out of the range, and now you can see here we get a good bar here. I can consider a long. You can see this is a new low, so you get a first entry short, second entry short. It comes up, breaks above, technically triggers, reverses strongly, creates a lower high. It's right into that EMA. This is also kind of like two legs back, and on a smaller level, you get a first entry, second entry. So let's see, and we get a really good bar. It is a little bit sideways, but I did watch this live, and this formed very clearly. So what I mean by that is this didn't really move up and down. This came down, broke above, pushed strongly down, and then this reversed right here, creating the second entry long right at the EMA. So my opinion, you got the short strapped here on this lower high. So failed second entry short, second entry long, making higher lows consecutively at the EMA at this bigger potential key entry point. So I like this trade here. Oops, mark this one. And if you're going for smaller targets, you probably would have gotten out right there. Traces a little bit, creates a higher low, but no good bar. Sideways, but the key entry point's holding. And you would have gotten a larger target scalp there as well now. So it looks like we may have an overshoot, but if I extend this, it doesn't quite fit, so let's see. I'd be looking at this pivot here, so if we can get to this pivot, I would consider this potentially not an overshoot. You can see midline's kind of holding right here, so let's see. It touches that perfectly now. So I wouldn't think, and you can see kind of how it's grinding up right on that upper side. So way far away from the EMA, so no trade, but this trend seems to be at play. Turning to the EMA, looking for a second entry long. Get a first entry. And we get a second entry here. Small risk, only 6 ticks. Perfect bar, finish on its high. It is a little sideways here, but the key entry point's holding. EMA is holding. This downtrend seems to have a break in new low, or at least a break in an attempt at a new low. So if you're a little more aggressive because of this congestion, I think you can take this trade. I hate that doji was there, but I think you can consider this. And you definitely would have gotten your scalp there. And you get a failed second entry short, but the bar is huge and it didn't form where we need it to form. Yeah, actually didn't end up failing, so really not a failed second entry short. So this is strong downtrend here. So this is the first break of this golden uptrend. So we'll probably get a retest. So let's just wait and see what happens when prices return to the EMA. This looks to be a break and new low. I don't think you want to widen it that much. So I think this is a break and new low. We bounce at this previous support resistance area here. There we go. We push back into the EMA rather strongly. 3 strong bullish bars. Probably going to get a retest on this uptrend. Push to below the EMA on the close. And then we got a higher low here. Technically, by the count, it's a failed second entry short, but this really looks like a double bottom. So this is a higher low. The bar's not great. We closed a little bit below the EMA, more than I'd really like. This is a, I wish locally this set up a little better. I'm not going to mark this, but you maybe could consider this trade. This had some strength to it, so this is right around the 50% area of retracement of this bluish downtrend. So, and it is sort of at this support, a little bit below it. I'm not going to mark this, but it can be considered if it was a little better locally. Chopping higher, maybe a wider downtrend here, or I'm sorry, uptrend. Maybe, yeah, that fits pretty well. Grinding up, failed second entry short, but way away from the EMA and right into these highs, so no trade. Still trap some people. Another higher low, but way too high up. Yeah, that would have got you. So now we got the first break of this trend. We got a new high on this golden uptrend. We got 3 strong bearish bars. Let's see what happens at the EMA. Get a first entry long. Get a second entry long, but it closed below the EMA, so I don't think that's a trade. This is a little too wide to draw this, especially on a retracement kind of trend, so I do think maybe this is a break and new low. And we're bouncing at this support level. So second entry long, let's see if we can get like a higher low. 2 strong bullish bars and then a third little one. Pushes strongly back to the EMA and at the overnight highs. Oh yeah, we got a great bar here. This is like a repeat pattern of this. You can see we have this downtrend, 3 strong bullish bars, 1 strong bearish bar back to the EMA, and then it launches. Same here, strong push down, 3 bearish bullish bars, strong bearish bar back to the EMA, and then this bar is a lot better and there's less overlap here. So I'm definitely taking this trade. And just the way that's really a Top Gun looking setup there. And yeah, there's some resistance in this area, but we pushed above, so I'd maybe draw it like this. You think you're going to retest this red uptrend? There you go, you get the new high. Well, close to a new high on this trend. That trade would have worked pretty nicely. Some strength behind that. Let's see if we have a bigger trend here. That doesn't fit all that well. Maybe just more of a micro trend. So now we break out of here. We got the new high of all the uptrends. Maybe there is a bigger trend here. To fudge it a little bit and not go quite off the lows. I don't know. I think it's a break and new high. So now we're way above the EMA. We're tracing back. 3 strong bearish bars. You get a first entry. Nope, doesn't trigger. So no trade there. All the uptrends have played out anyway. Looks like we've got a bigger downtrend working. And let's see where we are. You can see we're pretty much right at these previous highs of the breakout area. So not surprising that prices sold off pretty strong there. And maybe, let's see, we push back to the EMA, just the first entry long, push above the EMA. Now we get a second entry long, and you may be tempted to draw a bigger trend here. It actually does fit pretty good, pretty well, but thing about this is we're coming up short here, and we're really just breaking out of this range again. So this would be tempting because it looks like a repeat pattern again, but there's also some congestion here. This probably needs a retest because this is pretty significant, this downtrend here. So I'm not going to mark this trade. If you're going for a small target, maybe it would work, but I think that's too risky given my reward risk that I'm going for. Looks like it would have worked. EMA held. Let's see. I'm going for 4 points. Actually would have came up a little short. So let's see. Now you get a failed second entry short, but that bar is too strong. Wouldn't have triggered anyway, and you would have gotten stopped out of that if you were going for 4 points. So now we get another correction here. Probably going to retest this low. Keep this one. I'll keep this bigger range or bigger uptrend in mind, but I don't like drawing them off the first break. So you can see this golden uptrend had its first break here, and so it's sometimes less reliable to draw another wider trend off of that first break. So I'm going to delete that for now. This is still a range. We're kind of holding within these highs. So it's tempting to draw it that way because it did fit rather nicely, but I just want to look at the more local price action now. We got a lower high, but too far from the EMA right into these lows. A second entry long here, but it's just very sideways. So break a new low now from both of these downtrends. Just sideways chop. Maybe let's see. You get a higher low here, but we're kind of pushing down now. So yeah, it would have stopped you. So maybe this is a wider trend now. We just kept pushing lower, and that actually does fit pretty well. Bouncing right at these range lows here. Maybe this is just a bigger range we could classify. Bounces right at that support, pushes strongly to EMA. EMA holds, but it's just a first entry, and we've got 3 bullish bars. So no trade there. Like it would have worked for a decent scalp. You get a lower high here, but the bar forms and finishes too low and near the support, and the bar's not good anyway. Get inside doji. Now you break below, get the new low. So now this bluish downtrend is played out. We push below this range, waiting to see what happens at the EMA. There's congestion really far now. Push back to the EMA. Doesn't quite get there. Still in this little range. Pushes up. 3 bullish bars. Maybe that fits. Oops. Fits pretty nicely. Get a second entry short, but really congested. This is already played out, and we're coming back into this indeterminate area, so I don't think you want to short this. Yeah, you get a higher low that reverses on you. And then you get a lower high here, but this is still in this kind of unknown area. So I wouldn't take that. Now you get a higher low, second entry long. If I widen, that actually doesn't fit that well. EMA is holding pretty strongly here, and we are bouncing at this range low, a little bit under it. But I'd want to see a gap above the EMA and then it come back and test it. So for that reason, I'm not going to mark this trade, this higher low. It would have worked. It looks like it ended up trapping all those shorts that entered on that big bearish bar. And now we've got now we've got an uptrend. And actually this is 3:30 now, so that's pretty much the end of the day. So let's see. Kind of ended up going sideways after that. So yeah. We had pretty much a range day with a little bit of an upward bias. Strong move down during the overnight. Switch to this so you can see. Strong move down, break a new low, couple legs up, really tight patterns, and then just congestion. That kind of kept happening all day. Bigger move here. Couple more legs up. Sideways. That was kind of the MO early on. Get a big move up, then go sideways over and over. We push back down into this range, the overall range. Get this tighter pattern that breaks and gets a new low. Then we start gaining a little momentum to the bearish side, to the bullish side. We got a failed second entry short here. Also a second entry long right at this key entry point, confirms it. So that was a good trade. Pushes up higher, creates a two-tier channel. Corrects back to the EMA. Get a little bit of a congested second entry long, but given the context, maybe you take that one. It's a great bar. Pushes to almost a new high. You get the first break. Micro downtrend gets a break and new low. You get a higher low, which was a little tempting, but locally didn't set up great. Then you get this new high of the golden uptrend, but in and of itself, this is a fairly strong move. So we want to see if we get another setup at the EMA and we get a higher low visual second entry long here. Great bar. So that was a good trade. Pushes to a new high. Get a fairly strong micro downtrend. You get another higher low here, but everything is kind of played out, and this move is significant enough to warrant a retest. So, and the fact that it's a little sideways, I don't like that trade. We get the second strong move down, and chop sideways, and then we get 330. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a pretty basic range day. Some pretty good setups in this upward move here, though. So, thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great one.